listening to the Marriage Clinic podcast, a podcast on love, marriage, and personal development. Our purpose is to inspire and equip you with knowledge and skills to enable you to have lasting and fulfilling relationships. Now your host, Joshua Mogri.
Welcome to the Marriage Clinic podcast. My name is Dr. Joshua Mogri, and as I always tell you, I prefer it when you call me Uncle Josh. This is a podcast about love, marriage, and your personal development. For those of you who are watching this on Facebook or YouTube, you would notice that today we've gone a different route. We're giving you a strictly audio Marriage Clinic podcast, and I know you are going to enjoy it. Last week, we listened to a lovely interview, and today I want to speak to you about keeping the spark alive in your marriage. Keeping the spark alive in your marriage. You see, whether we like it or not, after a while, a marriage can start to become boring. I mean, several times people come into my office and sometimes they tell me, they say, Pastor Josh, I don't think I love my wife any longer. I don't think I love my husband any longer. Or as one lady put it, she said, we are living together in the house like brother and sister. So what happens? In marriage, there are times that the marriage starts to get boring. Maintaining a vibrant and fulfilling marriage requires so much effort and dedication because anything you do not pay attention to gradually begins to die. Think about it. Anything you do not pay attention to gradually begins to die. If you don't pay attention even to a gadget, the gadget soon gets destroyed. In the same way, your marriage, and for those of you who are single, I sincerely hope and pray you get married one day. Your marriage is a living organism that needs to be tended to. And today, I'm going to talk to you about some strategies you can put in place that are going to help you keep your marriage alive and keep the fire going. All right? You may agree with some of the strategies. You may disagree with some of the strategies, but all in all, if you tried them out, most likely they will help your marriage. Yes. So share the link, send a message to a friend. If you know anyone whose marriage is dying, please send this to them. And you can send it to your spouse. If you are still dating, you can send it to your boyfriend or your girlfriend. It's a good idea that you know some of these things even before you get married. So here we have it. The first thing you need to remember is this. For a marriage to keep its spark, you need to prioritize quality time together. A marriage dies when you stop spending time with one another. Okay? So make out dedicated time for each other on a regular basis to deepen that emotional bond. That's the first thing you need to do. Before you think of going to buy lingerie and going to buy a Abochi herbal mixture and so on and so forth, I would advise you to realize that every relationship grows on the amount of time you spend with one another. So carve out some time. It may be when you get home from work. It may be an hour before you go to bed. It may be a morning walk you have each day with your spouse. But if you want to go on the route to recovery, to get that spark back in your marriage, you must make sure that you make time to spend with one another. So that's the first thing. The second thing that brings back the spark in a marriage is when you begin to express appreciation and gratitude for the things that you do for one another. You need to learn to show genuine appreciation for your partner's efforts, whether it's big things or it's small things. You must learn to express your gratitude for their presence, for what they do, and for what they give you. What do I mean by this? No matter how long you have been married, let me use some gender examples. Some people may not agree, and for marriages, sometimes it's swapped. But even when you tell him that the gas cylinder is empty, and you ask him to come and reconnect another one for you, when he does it, you do say thank you. And it could go like this. Oh, thank you for reconnecting the next cylinder. And it really does help to have a man like you around the house. When a meal is cooked, you should say, thank you for preparing this meal. I love coming home to meals like this. When your clothes are folded, you should say, thank you for folding the clothes. And also, thank you for things that are not recognized. Sometimes you just need to look at the light bulb and say, hey, without you and what you do in this household, we wouldn't even have power. And I appreciate the grind you go through every day, going out there to make things happen in this home. I'm grateful to you that you are such a wonderful mother to the kids, or you are such a wonderful father to the kids. I know raising children is not the easiest thing to do, but do that. Thank you for the scarf. Thank you for that. As you begin to share gratitude and you begin to tell the person how much they mean to you, the person, both of you begin to have a renewed appreciation for the marriage that you have. The next thing that you need to do, or I would say is number 3, is communicate openly and honestly. Openly and honestly about everything. You see, you have to foster trust and honesty by maintaining open lines of communication. That means you should talk to each other on a regular basis, number 1. And that means that you should always believe that you are hearing the truth from one another. It shouldn't be a situation where it is like, I have to tell her lies or I have to tell him lies. No, both of you should be able to understand that we always hear the truth from one another. All right. Now, another thing that's going to help you on this journey is when you keep the romance alive in the marriage. Learn to put in the same effort into the marriage that you put into dating her. And learn to put in the same effort into the marriage as you put in when he was dating you. So what do you need to do? Keep the romance alive in the marriage. Nurture romantic situations. Surprise one another. Okay? Learn to surprise one another. Go out on dates. Have getaways. Write notes. I'm sure as I'm saying this, some people are saying, well, Uncle Josh, it's easy for you to say that. You don't know how expensive restaurants are today. Write notes. Go on a walk. Buy some chocolate. Ghanaian women don't really do flowers, but if she does flowers, buy flowers for her. Whatever it takes, the little things that just show that you were on my mind. I've been thinking about you. I'm glad I'm married to you. These little things spark up the marriage and it reignites the passion that you are looking for. So make sure you do that. Now, so far I've shared 4 things. Let me go to the 5th one. You see, the marriage begins to get boring when you don't have shared interests. When you don't have shared interests, it suddenly becomes 2 partners or 2 strangers who are living in the same house. What do I mean by shared interest? You must look at what your partner likes doing and look at what you like doing and find one of those things you can do together. So for instance, if your partner likes watching football, there's nothing wrong with cultivating an activity around watching football with him. So what happens? You may decide that when his favorite team is playing, it could be Brantford, it could be Real Tamale United, it could be whichever team it is. I will get popcorn and get some drinks, and then the 2 of us watch the game together. In the beginning, you may not understand everything that is going on if you are not a football person, but over time, you will gradually begin to find your interest getting there. Or maybe you can agree that we watch a cooking show together, or we can agree that we go on weekly walks together or daily walks together, or you can agree that we bake together, or whatever it is. Once you have a shared interest that the marriage revolves around, it helps for both of you to have a stronger passion for the marriage. Okay? So remember that. Cultivate shared interest. Now, the next thing is that embrace the changes and growth that goes on. Who you married 5 years ago is different from the person you are with today. Because we go through cycles, we go through changes. Maybe when you married her, she was just your wife. Now she's your wife and she's a mother and she's a shop owner or she's a director. So as we go through the changes in life, when you married him, he was just your boyfriend who you married. Now he's a father. Now he's a business owner. Now he's a teacher, a lecturer. Now he's pastoring a church. As we take on bigger roles, as our parents begin to age, as so many things happen in our lives, we evolve and we change. So if you keep dealing with me the way you dealt with me when I was just the husband, not taking into account that now I'm a father, now I'm a pastor, now I'm a scientist, now I am this, you may say I've changed when in reality I've just evolved. So keep looking at your partner, and as they evolve and change, embrace the changes. There are certain seasons of the marriage you may not have as much time with each other as you want to. There are certain seasons of the marriage that health issues may begin to come into play. There are certain issues, times of the marriage where when a parent is now aged and a parent is unwell, you will have to deal with those issues. So learn to embrace the change. I wish I could give you some more, but our time is up for today. I will be back with Ask Uncle Josh. But remember, keep the love and the passion in your marriage alive. And we'll be back with Ask Uncle Josh. Take care. Okay, so we are back with Ask Uncle Josh. This one is an interesting one. She says, my husband has been struggling to have a rise in the bedroom lately, and I'm scared. What can I do? Please don't mention my name. Okay, Agatha, I won't mention your name. I'm just kidding. The name is not Agatha. Don't mind me. I play too much sometimes. Okay. So I'm not mentioning her name. But, when a man fails to rise to the occasion, which clinically is called erectile dysfunction, there could be several reasons and several things that cause it. Okay. The first thing is that it could be physical. It could be blood works issue. It could be medication that he has gone on. It could be a chronic health condition. All right. And sometimes it could even be a hormonal imbalance. So that is there. Then it could also be a psychological issue, right? When people are stressed, they are anxious, they begin to feel more stress. And for some men, they start to have a problem in rising to the occasion. Now, it could also be a lifestyle issue. All right. Sometimes when people have put on too much weight or they've got into the smoking or excessive alcohol consumption, all that can also affect that area. The first thing I would advise that you should do is that you should realize that men put a lot of weight on their ability to perform. And if this problem is going on now, it is affecting him more than you would know. So this is a time to give him some reassurance. Let him know that you love him. You guys are going to work through it. And then ask yourself first, is he under undue stress within this period? It's possible that they are doing some assessments in the workplace and they are laying off people and he's stressed about it, or there may be a problem somewhere. Then you must also look at the lifestyle issues. Before you start running to buy some herbs that will end up destroying your liver and create bigger problems for you, look at the things you can do around first to change the situation, and then seek medical help. and then seek medical help. I'd advise you read online from very reputable websites on some practical things you can do. But I feel your pain, and I hope it's resolved. But please get in touch with a doctor if it's not resolved. But don't jump to herbal treatments first. We do that a lot, and it creates problems over time. All right. This has been the Marriage Clinic Podcast, a podcast about love, marriage, and your personal development. You can find me on almost every social media platform. Just look for Dr. Joshua Mogri. Please give it a like. Please give it a follow. And I will connect with you there. So take care. Until next week. It's been a pleasure having you. Bye-bye.